Hello, welcome to Just Invest Today, and today we have a great video. Today we're going to talk about why investing in Alibaba is risky. And people understand that I'm a very strong bull on Alibaba, but I still understand the risk involved. And we have to open up our minds to the opportunity that we can be wrong on this investment because there is a million possibilities that can come from investing in companies. You're not always going to be right. So let's look at what the big risks are for Alibaba. We have to understand and we have to acknowledge the risk when investing in these companies, especially when they're in China, especially when they're overseas. So in this video, we're going to talk about some huge risk involved in Alibaba, and we have to see if we can actually fight these risks and see if we have a huge advantage of a nice potential run for the Alibaba stock. So let's go, let's get into this video. Guys, like this video, subscribe to my channel. I'm on a road to 1,000 subscribers. Can you please help me out and get me there? Thank you. The first risk, we cannot discount this. The US-China trade talks take first steps in re-engagement. And this is critical because we understand what is going on with the tariffs between USA and China. These are critical things because this can dampen the relationship with China and USA. Dampening the relationship with China and USA is going to be critical for the markets. We have to realize that back in back when all the anti-monopoly stuff was happening and what China was doing with the markets, like USA was scared and the whole everyone was scared about what was happening. And the thing is they stopped IPOs. Like there's no more Chinese IPOs in the US before everything becomes settled and there's more regulation happening there. So if this just gets worse and worse, then it's going to lead to delisting of Chinese stocks. And with delisting risk, you have to understand there's going to be less money going into these stocks, less fund managers buying into these stocks, and just a critical crash of these stocks. So these trade policies and trade agreements are critical for the markets to stabilize because we understand right now in the short term sentiment is very important. So if these trade talks go well with Biden and their vice financial assistant and all those people, then this can have huge effects on the Alibaba market going forward. But on the other hand, this can cause delisting risk if these talks go bad because they are talking about policy, they are talking about trade, how China is not buying enough of their goods and they have to remain solid on their word. So this is critical when you really think about it, and this is a risk that you have to open your mind to, where there is a possibility of the trade talks just going south, just not going anywhere, and just they're going farther away from each other, which is just a huge market risk for both China and US and companies that are selling in China on the US market. The second big risk, this is huge risk, man. You gotta open your eyes to this. China's G emphasizes peaceful reunification with Taiwan days after record show of force. So basically, Xi Jinping wants to unify Taiwan back into China because that's how it was before Taiwan kind of got their side across and they got away from China. But Xi Jinping is like hell bent on getting Taiwan back under the Chinese rule, and Taiwan still wants their diplomacy. They want their own kind of ruling. So how can this go? We see that Xi Jinping has been going across Taiwan's borders with freaking fighter planes and stuff like that. But I think that's all noise, and he's not really gonna do anything about that. But he wants this to be peaceful and just get everyone back under the same rule. But who knows what's gonna happen with that? USA might step in and say, no, we're not gonna allow that. And then what happens? Just two sides conflict again, just raising awareness about the problem going on with USA and China relationship. So you have to understand this risk is huge. It's so big in the market right now. So You just have to picture a scenario where these things can go really off and just crash this Chinese market, crash all the stocks selling on the New York Stock Exchange that are Chinese, and just crash those stocks, because this can go peacefully or this can go really bad. But in my defense and my thought process, it's like, can you imagine war right now over Taiwan? Like, it seems so far fetched because, guys, like, there's chances of like nuclear stuff. Like, this is not gonna be some like armies running down and just like talking to each other, shooting guns. Like, we're talking about nukes, bombs, like all that type of stuff. So I can't imagine. So like, if that happens, then like, what are markets gonna be? So every market is gonna go down the drain. It's not gonna just be Baba. Like, everything's gonna go down the drain if real war happened, which I just can't see, because it just goes against like both countries in my opinion. But you have to acknowledge that this risk is very much there, and this could shift against Taiwan. And then if it shifts against Taiwan, USA is gonna step in because they are for Taiwan and they have strong relationships there. And we got to remember, Taiwan has all those semiconductor companies, and China, I think, still wants that control, because Taiwan is still in the, like, they're heading, their innovation is just crazy, and what they're doing is crazy. So yes, China still wants Taiwan under the rule. Taiwan doesn't really want that. They want their own kind of government. USA is on Taiwan's side. So how will that end? That's a huge risk against Alibaba, against Chinese stocks, and just stocks in general, to be honest. If there was a real war, which sounds crazy, but you never know. There's always a risk, and there's always potential of things happening and things getting out of control. So be aware of that if you're investing in Alibaba, Chinese stocks, and those type of companies. So that's the second huge risk that could lead to like the crash of Alibaba. Shout out to Lawrence Hamilton on Twitter. He actually put this out on his Twitter saying this kind of investment firm looked at the risk of Alibaba and Chinese companies and they said no. And here are the reasons. Let's go over this. Let's look at what we can see and what we can see wrong. Let's see if we can actually find something kind of going against his position. Its competitive position has been underpinned by the connections and support from the government. If the political winds change as they appear to be at the time of writing this note, Alibaba's privileged position may come under threat, creating headwinds for the business. Who knows? That could be a possibility. No one knows. We see the high returns on capital in a more skeptical light because of the opaque accounting. And this is a big thing because a lot of people think that like the accounting is wrong, it's fraud, it's not right. But in my mind, my counter argument against that is that like it's one of the biggest companies in China. Like, why would they need to do fraud when everyone uses Alibaba? Like, it just doesn't make sense. Like, everyone uses Alibaba in China. Everyone uses it. Like, a lot of people still use it overseas. Like, it doesn't make sense for one of the biggest company to have fraud. Like, when has that ever happened? Like, the biggest company, like, in the market having fraud? I guess there's a chance. There's a chance of it, but like, I don't see it. Like, a company that has that many customers trading around that many products, I just can't see fraud, but who knows? It's a possibility. A situation made worse by the non-existent oversight at the board level at a complex ownership structure, VIE structure, again, another risk that has the potential to go bad. People saying China just might take it away or something. And a culture known to be aggressive. So. I think I like the culture in Alibaba. It's also difficult to give Alibaba management the benefit of the doubt for their M&A strategy, which has diluted returns and enriched those at the top of Alibaba and their friends. I don't think that's going to happen because I think Alibaba is the type of company that is actually trying to do good and actually make businesses, small and medium-sized business, stronger. And now they're almost forced to now because of common prosperity. So Alibaba is going to do right now. So even if they didn't, maybe weren't as aggressive at doing right, they have to do right now for common prosperity, which the government is kind of clinging on to. So that can kind of be countered by that now, if you really think Alibaba is going in that direction. Coming back to the question of purpose, Alibaba's purpose has drifted from its original intent of helping small Chinese companies. It now appears to be serving the interests of the government and its original shareholders. So take it as you want it. Is Alibaba for the government now? Do they have some specific interest of just the government? They don't care about small and medium-sized businesses. Again, I just don't see that, because if they increase small and medium-sized businesses, those businesses are going to generate income for Alibaba, right? So it doesn't make sense to go against small and medium-sized business, as they're on Taobao and Tmall generating income for Alibaba. So why would they go against that grain or not be for those type of businesses? It doesn't make sense. And for the government interest, the government has been killing Alibaba for the past year. If government was so protecting of Alibaba, they wouldn't be doing all this stuff. So I don't understand how you can see it's for government benefit when the government is just like finding Alibaba, telling it has to divest from its media businesses. It's just doing so much things against Alibaba. So how can it be for the government in that type of aspect when it's doing everything against it? So that doesn't really make sense to me, but that's just my thoughts. What do you think about everything going on with this? Do you understand the risk? Are you still investing in Alibaba? Are you just sizing it accurately to your type of risk that you can take? What are you doing? Like this video, subscribe to my channel, and I'll get back to you in the next video. Peace.